Hey guys, I'm Fat Buddy Cat, and this is a mini dirt track racer. Alright, the first thing we're going to do today is fabricate a custom exhaust. We're going for something that is compact and simple. Over on the workbench, I have a side exit header as well as a Mini 91 from Grey Goat Garage and my friends at OMB Warehouse.com. We'll take the header in its raw form, bring it over to the engine, and stick it right on the studs. You can then hold it flush to the port. That way we know right about where this thing's going to sit when it's completely mounted. Already, we can see that we clear the frame, but we are too long to get our Mini 91 on there. So we're definitely going to have to cut it back. Something else. Everything beyond this point is just kind of flapping in the breeze. It's going to move with the resonance and the vibration from the engine. So it's going to want to do that. If we put weight on the end of this, our Mini 91, it's going to increase that pendulum effect with the vibration. That could lead to a failure, which would probably happen right around here. This is just 1-inch pipe, and this is where it's at its thinnest. We're going to try to do something to protect that, and then we'll worry about where we cut it off. I went searching around in my scrap metal bin and found this guy right here. Not quite sure what I was going for, but we'll definitely be able to repurpose it. What I'm thinking is some sort of a diagonal brace. We'll tack weld it here and over here. We won't touch anything in here where the walls are thinner. Now, it would probably be better if we did it on the bottom. I think it would look better on the top, but you see that? I don't want to interfere with my studs. If we go that way, they're wide open, man. I'm using these holes in this piece of steel to my advantage. I'm marking out the ends of my reinforcement where I'll cut it off here and here. I'll then be able to get a weld right on the inside of this hole and the outside of our tab. I'll repeat the same thing right over here. There it is, cut back. I also nipped the corners to minimize the overhang. That's definitely not coming off there anytime soon. Sweet. I just placed our header back on the exhaust studs. I then held up our Mini 91 silencer where I wanted it to go, and then I made a line. This end is going to go over the 1-inch pipe. So if we cut it right here, the end is going to be right about there. We'll just give it a quick double check. Yep. I'm going to go ahead and weld that puppy on there. Just like that, we have ourselves a one-piece exhaust system. I'm going to take it back outside and I'm going to hit it with some high heat grill paint. The whole thing. Silencer and all. Let's see how it looks. It doesn't matter how it looks, because next we're going to wrap it up the best we can. I have a couple different clamps. One of them is going to be around the silencer end, and the smaller one will be down here. Don't worry about that yet. I just went for a dry wrap so I could figure out roughly how much we're going to need. Once this stuff gets wet, it gets messy. Speaking of wet, I'm going to throw it right in a bucket of water. Let that simmer now. Oh, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes, you'll be alright. While our header wrap is soaking, we're going to open this up and see what it's all about. I'm thinking a lightweight hanger. Yeah, it's a kit alright. I'll give you the strapping and a couple screws and nuts. Yeah, we could do better than that, but we'll definitely use this. You'll be able to bend that around, do some funky things. In order to use this strapping as a hanger for our header, I'm going to have to attach it somehow. To start things off, I'm going to find a point to wrap this around. Maybe I'll go, a couple times, and I'll leave a tail going up. So we're going to want it to come up from the back side, so I'll pay attention to that. And then the distance, I'm thinking right about here is where I want it to come upwards. So I'll start my wrap over here, go around a couple times this way, and then it'll loop up from the back, and the tail will go up that way. Yeah, I think this will work. We're going to put it over the wrap. So I'll take this off and I'll start from this end, work my way out. That way if I have any excess, I can trim it off. Just like I said, started from this end. After I had a couple wraparounds, I hit it with a clamp, nice and tight. Wrap, 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 wrap. Let it overhang on the end. Another clamp, nice and tight. Now I'm just taking my scissors and trimming the end so it's nice and flush. I just reintroduced our metal strap and I added a third clamp. Now we need a length to cut this thing off. To do that, we need a mounting point. We're going to use one of these. I have my 2 exhaust nuts tightened all the way, and this isn't going to cut it. We need some tension. I'm thinking I should wrap this around the frame a couple times and then try to incorporate a 4th clamp, kind of like we did here, to protect the frame. I just cut off a piece of this fat tubing that I had. I think I'll snip this, I don't know, somewhere between 4 to 6 inches long. It looked neater with 2 clamps. I'm going to cut these back so that they all look the same, and maybe I'll fold them over just so there's not a sharp edge there. I left probably about 6 inches of this strap. I switched to a piece of heater hose that I found, and I can roll this tight. I'm probably going to use 2 more of these up here. I'll try to make it look as neat as I can. It's really not that bad. These are lightweight and super easy to find at the hardware store. Yeah, so this is definitely one of those things that's going to look better at about 30, 35 mile an hour. It's really not supporting the exhaust. It's just to help with a little bit of the vibration and to keep things where they need to be in case anything else breaks. This is a Swedish fish. This is also a Swedish fish. The only difference is he's wrapped in some heat tape that are found on the Zon. This should be interesting. Well, I can't say much for the fish, but the heat tape did its thing. 4 strips of that black magic will put the guarantee on the frame, right where the Mini 91 dumps out. Now we're going to install a mini bike gas tank from DirtFoot Racing. I already have this one wrapped in a, I don't know, we'll call it a custom cover. It's not just several layers of Gorilla Tape. I mean, well, it is that, but there's also a couple pieces of vinyl wrapped around it so that the tape itself isn't on the bare metal. I could slice this back and let you see it in its raw form, but I'm just going to go ahead and put a link in the description. You can check it out for yourselves. What I will show you is this gas cap, because if you know what you're looking at, you'll pick up on some extremely high quality details. DirtFoot Racing doesn't mess around. I actually had a choice in tanks that would fit for this particular installation. This is a 3x8 spun aluminum. It would sit right there in front of the seat, and it doesn't look bad. It offsets the Torquezilla, but I've been there, done that, used it, and it's really light. It has a good flow. It only has 1 ounce more fuel than this little guy here. This is definitely heavier, but when it goes on the mini bike, it's already protected, so we don't have metal on metal. You just sit it right on there, but it covers up. If you look at the frame, right, they come together as a triangle, but you can see how the angle is ever so slightly different where they come together. When you look down with the 3x8, I can see it more. You know what I mean? If that thing's dead center. So that's one thing. But it also looks killer from the side. Something else I really dig about the way this gas tank fits on this particular frame is that I'll be able to hold it on with just one of these ring clamps. This is a stainless steel job, so it's sort of heavy duty. I just fed what I believe is a section of 1/2 inch inside diameter heater hose over the majority of it. That way we don't ming up our frame. And it was more comfortable for me to go from the right side. You could go from the left if that works for you, but just fed the tail of this thing back down into the hose and tried to keep it centered. You know, that way it looks like you care about what you're doing. This tank has a rear bung instead of a center, so that also helps when we're putting on our clamp. Now I just have to get from this barb over to this one right here. I just used a few strategically placed zip ties to secure the PCV and filter to the gas tank strap where it's up and out of the way, and also in a position where it won't interfere with my leg later on. There's a few sharp edges on some of these clamps and these ties, but hey, don't touch my clone, bro. Up underneath, we ran the red 1/4 inch down to a shutoff valve. Then we switched to the yellow 3/16 Tygon, hit a filter, and then the carburetor. This air filter was already oiled, but we're just kind of out in the middle of no man's land, I think we would benefit from a pre-filter as well. The issue here, well, this pre-filter is made for one of these, and they are much larger. Nothing a zip tie can't fix. This pre-filter has been off and on a few times, and it's finally starting to show its age, but it's better than nothing. Just gonna snip my zip tie, and I even made sure I can still get to my screw back here in case this thing comes off and I have to clamp it back on. We're going to be doing a test fire on this engine, even though we already know we have a runner. What I don't know is where that carburetor is set as far as the mixture or the idle. Just to be safe, I already removed the Torquezilla and the belt. There's only two other things I want to do before we test this thing out. An oil change and a rear axle swap. In the next video, we'll get it done. We're going to be hauling grass in no time. Because as always, it's a work in progress. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.
I want you to stay.